Civilizations are fragile. For that matter, all cultures, urban, nomadic, herding, or hunter-gatherer, are fragile, and because civilizations are particularly complex forms of culture, they do not come with any sort of lifetime guarantee. If the climate changes even a little, then the agricultural base on which these cities depend can collapse, and cities become places of hunger and hopelessness where nobody wants to live. If the population grows beyond the ability of the land or sea to support it, people die, people move away, people rebel, or all three happen. In the early Middle Ages, the city of Rome was so nearly abandoned that the few citizens who remained had to stay indoors at night for fear of the wolves that roamed the streets when darkness fell. Percy Shelley made that point effectively in his poem Ozymandias. The poem goes, I met a traveler from an antique land who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lips and sneer of cold command tell that its sculpture well those passions read, which yet survive stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sand stretches far away. Shelley was living and writing during an age of exploration when long-lost and long-forgotten civilizations were being discovered by Europeans. But Shelley was not just dwelling on the imaginary king Ozymandias. If the great civilizations of the past could fall into ruin and decay, could not the same thing happen to the great cultures of Europe and the emerging civilization of America? It's also worth remembering that though hominids have been using tools for 2.7 million years, give or take a few millennia, and though anatomically modern humans first appeared about 200,000 years ago, civilizations have existed for no more than 5,000 years. Put another way, if we assume on average there are 4 generations per century, then between now and the birth of Jesus, there have been only 80 generations. And if we remove from the birth of civilization in the 3rd century BC, only about 200 generations separate us. We would have to go back 40,000 generations, however, to bring us to the birth of the first anatomically modern humans. We are essentially a species of hunters and gatherers that have been domesticated for a few generations, a very few when you consider that many of us have ancestors who were hunting and gathering in Britain and Northern Europe well after the 1st century in the Christian era. What does this little exercise in statistical imprecision mean? Civilization is not something to be taken for granted. Civilizations emerge, civilizations grow and thrive and conquer their neighbors,